I was getting transferred, David. My boss's announcement felt like a demotion. The next day, I had a blind date with someone I had fallen for at first sight. From the peak of joy, I was plunged into despair. Little did I know, this demotion would change my life, the life of my blind date, and lead to the downfall of the boss who demoted me. I came home tired from work. Opening the living room door, I sighed. Oh man, not this again. Give me a break. That's my line. The woman in the living room, quick to pick up on my attitude, stood up from the sofa. Anger in her voice, holding her head, she let out a scream. I can't take it anymore. I want to go home. I can't stand it either, I muttered to myself. I'm David, 29 years old, currently cohabiting with a complete stranger. And she's an incredibly spoiled brat. Unfortunately, this cohabitation can't end for another month. How did I end up here? I work in sales at a major food wholesaler, one of the top companies in the industry. Times are tough. Prices are rising and sales are falling. Facing unreasonable demands from my business partner, I opened my bag. Actually, I thought you might say that. I've brought along a few products I'd like to recommend. These seem to have good quality. Are they really affordable? My business partner's eyes widened when I laid out another product. These tomatoes are grown using environmentally friendly farming practices. How did you know that? Did you manage to get the contract? My boss inquired. I nodded emphatically, and a buzz of excitement erupted from my colleagues. Yes. Wow, you did it, David. Securing this contract was a big deal. My colleagues praised me, asking, how come you're so good at landing contracts? To me, it wasn't difficult. Everyone wants to save money without compromising quality. I'd addressed their unique needs and brought a sample focusing on their recent shift to environmental issues. Gathering information and continuous learning are part of my routine. My colleagues say I have a talent for sales, but it's just hard work. Then, my efforts took my life in a new direction. You're going on a blind date. Tell us more. Rumors had already spread when I got to work. I shared the details with my eager colleagues. The blind date was set up by President Hamilton of Hamilton Foods, the largest food manufacturer. How about a blind date with my daughter? He asked. At first, I thought it was a joke, but he was serious. I was in a tough spot. One of my colleagues nudged me. What a problem to have, man. If you marry President Hamilton's daughter, a rapid promotion is guaranteed. You said yes, right? I asked for some time to think about it. Idiot. It's a big deal. If you marry her, it would strengthen ties between our companies and impact future business dealings. But still, it's a big decision. My colleagues excitedly discussed the possibility of me becoming the future president of Hamilton Foods. Suddenly, the conversation was cut short. Everybody, what are you all making a fuss about? Division Manager Parker had arrived. Good morning, Manager. Manager, did you hear about David? Without asking, my colleague brought up the blind date topic. I clearly saw it. His expression changed instantly. Really? That's wonderful news, David. Yes, but I haven't given an answer yet. Don't keep them waiting too long. Reply as soon as possible. Yes, sir. All of you, stop the chatter and get back to work. Dismissed. Yes, sir. At the manager's command, my colleagues dispersed. To them, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but I alone noticed and was certain the expression on the manager's face was one of anger. Lucky you, David, to be recognized by President Hamilton like that. I'm proud as your supervisor. Thank you, sir. Why did the manager have such an expression? At that time, I had no idea. Honestly, my heart was leaning towards accepting the proposal. Her name is Sophia. This is my daughter, said the president as he handed me her photograph. I gently took out the picture of an incredibly charming lady, looking like an idol with her perfect features. The moment I saw it, I was so smitten that I barely heard the president's words. In other words, it was love at first sight. I hoped she'd also have a good impression of me. Filled with anticipation, I agreed to the blind date. I couldn't wait for the day to come. At that time, I was oblivious, unaware that someone with ill intentions was close by. I never even considered the possibility that someone was harboring ill will towards me. More than $200,000 in damages. This kind of mistake is unprecedented, David. With a slam on the desk, Parker interrogated me. Confused, all I could do was repeatedly bow and say, "I'm terribly sorry." Of all the companies, it had to be Hamilton Foods. What a huge inconvenience. I hope it doesn't affect your marriage proposal. Those words, along with the unmistakable smirk at the corner of his mouth, were almost like a confession. Whose hand was behind this order mistake? Indeed, a huge amount of vegetables exceeding the ordered quantity arrived at the warehouse. That complaint from Hamilton Foods came just an hour ago. I was called by Parker to investigate the cause, and then no way. Comparing our order form with their purchase order, I was shocked. The unit was off by an entire digit, meaning I had sent Hamilton Foods 10 times the amount of vegetables they ordered. But I had no recollection of making such an error. "But sir, I surely double-checked the order, and you confirmed it on the same day, didn't you?" "I trusted you, David. I never thought you could make such a mistake. That's why I'm so disappointed." "But really, I didn't." "I don't want to hear excuses." He slammed his desk again, yelling, "What then? The numbers changed by themselves? Such childish excuses won't fly here. The excess vegetables have filled their warehouse. They're greatly inconvenienced right now. Who's going to take care of the surplus? How will we recover the losses incurred? You've caused trouble for many people. Be aware of that." "I'm so sorry, sir." Could it really be my mistake? As the reprimands continued, I was driven into a corner of doubt and anxiety. Every word from Parker held such weight, as if everyone but me knew the reality that I had made a mistake. Once a problem arises, someone has to take responsibility. That's how society works, right, David? "Yes, sir." At least for now, I couldn't be trusted with dealings with Hamilton Food. Stepping down from the transactions abruptly would spread rumors, and it would be tough for you too. How about spending some time at another place to cool things down? He proposed this as if he was concerned for me, but what he meant was a demotion, right? That's not a good way to put it. It's just a few years in a regional subsidiary. We're counting on you to do well there too, David. He patted my shoulder and smiled. His face clearly said there was no intention of bringing me back after a few years. Worst case, I might have to resign. Understood. Ironically, this day was the day before my blind date. I was about to finally meet the woman I had fallen for at first sight tomorrow. In the midst of such peak joy, I was suddenly plunged into the depths of despair. Given this situation, I was convinced that the blind date would be canceled. But President Hamilton's response was, "I definitely want you to come as planned." When I arrived at the venue, there was a stunningly beautiful woman in a glamorous dress sitting there. "Hello. Nice to meet you. That's my daughter. Say hello to David." "Nice to meet you. My name is Sophia." Urged by the president, Sophia greeted neatly. Her behavior used sophistication and good upbringing. When she raised her face, her clear eyes fixed on me. I was so captivated I momentarily forgot why I was there. "I'm terribly sorry for the trouble caused." In a hurry, I shouted to express my apology. Today was more about apologizing for the transaction error than the blind date, and to discuss that matter with President Hamilton. Actually, I confessed to the president that I was being transferred to a regional subsidiary starting next month. It was, in effect, a demotion. I had made this confession fully aware it might lead to the end of the blind date. The president had trusted my work, which is why he was willing to consider me for his daughter. But such a beautiful woman like her, more stunning than in her picture, surely wouldn't match someone about to be demoted. So, regarding this arrangement, The president went silent, furrowing his brows and glaring at me. Oh dear, it really is over. Just as I braced myself for the end of this brief romance. We can let this incident slide. Then I'll take my leave. What? I said we can overlook your mistake. Really, we buy all the delivered vegetables. Such an amount I can easily handle with my connections. President, thank you so much. At least now, I won't be causing trouble for my colleagues at the company. As I was feeling grateful, President Hamilton continued. However, if you agree to our condition. Of course, I'll do anything. Are you sure? Surprised by his sudden smile, I felt a jolt of nervousness. But the next moment, an even more shocking statement followed. First, for 1 month, live with my daughter Sophia. That's the condition. What I intend to marry you to. Think of it as a period to get to know each other. Marriage? I instinctively glanced at Sophia next to me. Noticing my astonished face, she said, I look forward to it. Seemingly, she was already agreeable to the idea. But I'm being demoted. That doesn't matter. If you marry my daughter, we continue doing business with your company. I'll speak to the higher-ups. That way, you might return to the headquarters sooner. We'll provide a place to live and support your living expenses. All you need to do is live with her. It's a good deal, right? It was such an attractive offer that it made me hesitate. Just living with the lady would save both me and the company, and with such a beautiful woman. What does the president gain from this deal? Before I could ask, I found myself nodding and saying, I understand. Is that so? You'll accept then. Let's contact each of our companies right away. Yes, sir. That's great. Laughing, President Hamilton left the room to make the call. I sat there stunned, unable to move. Then Sophia said to me, Don't get the wrong idea. Her tone was entirely different from before. Huh. If I don't live with you, my allowance will be cut off. I had no intention of marrying you. What's happening here? Regardless of my confusion, the company's damage was somehow averted. But the fact that I made a big mistake remained unchanged. In the end, I was sent to a subsidiary, essentially a demotion in disguise. And then I started living with Sophia in a condo arranged by President Hamilton. Now, back to the present. Sorry I always leave before you. It's okay. Your home is far away. Good work. See you tomorrow. My colleagues greeted me warmly. I responded, Thanks, see you tomorrow, and left the company. I was sent to a small canning manufacturer, a subsidiary of the company. It's a tiny company where no new products had been developed in years. I was assigned not to sales but to product development. It's like being put out to pasture. How much do they not want me back? Thankfully, all my colleagues were nice people. They let me leave a bit earlier than everyone else, considering my long commute from the new condo. Their constant care for whether I was struggling in the new environment was evident. Thanks to them, I thought, let's start afresh and do my best here. However, the commute alone was a struggle. Every day after a week, I was completely exhausted. I just wanted to relax at home, but, oh man, it's that again. As soon as I opened the living room door, I sighed. It looked like a burglar had rummaged through with things and clothes strewn all over. Give me a break. The culprit, reacting sharply to my grumbling, leaped up from the sofa and confronted me, saying, That's my line. Where's the replacement for my hair treatment? I've been looking for it forever. It's because you haven't bought it. Buy your own stuff. I've said that many times. You could have bought it for me. I've been telling you that many times too. I really needed a break. Hate this life, she said, holding her head. I tried not to provoke her further. I quietly sighed again. Raised by doting parents, she grew up spoiled. We need to take action, President Hamilton had said. Embarrassing as it is, she can't do anything on her own. He revealed the true reason behind the sudden cohabitation. Sophia had always been selfish and at 24, she hadn't changed. Fearing she'd never marry and they'd have to care for her forever, her parents chose me. Living with a stranger like me might teach her some harsh realities of life. Just ignore her whims. Make her do things herself, or you'll end up taking care of everything after marriage. Those words deeply chilled me, and I decided to focus on this 1 month to teach Sophia common sense and help her become capable of managing her daily life independently. But I underestimated her. I hate this small room. I hate the countryside. I hate living with a man who's so inconsiderate. Sorry for being inconsiderate. Let's clean up together. I don't want to. Oh man, she was like a little child. While I understood the stress of being sent to a completely different environment from her pampered home, my own home had become this after a tiring day at work. My stress was only building up. I can't stand it. I want to go home. I can't last another 3 weeks. That's exactly what I'm thinking, I muttered. She screamed and threw a cushion at me. Despite the situation, I endured, remembering the president's favor and my love at first sight for her. But even I had my limits. There's no way I'm doing that anymore. It all started with that statement from her. When I got home from work, the plastic bag that was in the fridge in the morning was gone. When I asked Sophia, she said, "I threw it away." Threw it away? Really? It's trash day, right? I took it out for you along with that. What are you doing? Startled by my loud voice, she trembled. Why are you angry? I took out the trash properly. That's not the point. Why did you throw it away? That's what I'm asking. Just because I don't eat that kind of thing. Such cheap snacks. What she had thrown away were prototype products I had received from a colleague. Since you came, I've been inspired to try harder myself. I've been experimenting with new product ideas, so if you'd like. Despite such words, eating those snacks at night was something I looked forward to. It motivated me, made me want to work harder. Just stop it already. It's not always about you. Think about others for once. This was the first time I had ever yelled at her. The small stresses that had been building up exploded because of this incident, and it must have been the first time she had ever been yelled at. Her eyes, wide in shock, quickly filled with tears. I didn't know that. You never told me. Seeing her tears start to fall, my anger quickly cooled. Indeed, I hadn't told her, thinking she wouldn't be interested anyway. And I did take out the trash properly. I hadn't told her that today was the day for burnable trash, assuming it would be pointless to tell her. I had planned to take it out myself, but forgot the bag at the entrance. Was this the only thing where I thought, as long as I know, it's fine? Living together isn't supposed to be like that, right? Huh. Sophia, do you even know where the store is? At my question, her face showed a sudden realization. Indeed, I was the only one who knew, and I hadn't told her. In that case, she couldn't possibly go shopping by herself. Do you know how to use online shopping sites? I don't know. How about using a map app? No idea. She didn't know anything. Those words were more directed at myself. I hadn't taught her anything, nor did I understand what she didn't know. Yet, we had been living together for 2 weeks. I appreciate you taking out the trash. I should have said that first. It was so heavy, and it was hard to carry it all the way down. But if you had asked before throwing it away, from now on I'll let you know what not to throw out. The shampoo is also almost gone. Let's go buy some together on Saturday. I'll show you around town. I've gotten quite familiar with it. Okay. From that day on, Sophia and I slowly started to talk, likes and dislikes, what we wanted and didn't want from each other, what each of us could and couldn't do. I had thought Sophia couldn't do much, but it turned out she was good at calculations. I was good at math. It seemed pointless after graduation, though. That's not true. Can I trust you to handle our budget? I tend to overspend. If I must. If you can't do it, I guess I'll have to. Despite her sarcastic tone, her face seemed a bit softer. What was missing was perhaps knowing and relying on each other. Proof of that, we grew closer day by day. Before I knew it, a year had passed since we started living together. Sophia didn't say anything about it. Spending time together had become so normal for us. At the same time, I was so engrossed in work that I lost track of time. The development department, long treated as a backwater, started moving again. As one of the team members, I was put in charge of several products. Little did I know, one of them would become the company's biggest hit since its founding. The person who had relegated me to this position must not have expected this. Oh dear, here, it's so good I could eat it forever. You're eating it again, Sophia. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's delicious. I used to think I didn't like snack foods, but I love these. Sophia smiled, munching on the snack I had developed. Behind the product's success was, in fact, her involvement. It's thanks to you helping with the prototypes that we could maximize the taste and texture. Thank you so much. I didn't really do anything special. Growing up as a gourmet, she has sharp taste buds and a wealth of culinary knowledge. Aimed to make a snack that even she would be satisfied with, developed with that concept, a chocolate with a luxurious feel unlike anything in our previous lineup. Targeting a social media appeal paid off, especially with the younger generation. I'll keep working hard, not just for the customers, but especially to make you happy, Sophia. Okay, Sophia, keep it up. I think I should cut back on sweets. I've gained a little weight recently. That's not true. Good night. Leaving behind a snack she loved, Sophia left the living room. She had been working hard on house chores recently. She must be tired. That's what I thought, but Sophia looked lonely. At that moment, I didn't realize it until she had disappeared from home. Sophia, in the now tidy living room, only my voice echoed. With continuous overtime lately, we hardly talked. To make up for it, it's okay once in a while. I thought buying her favorite sweets on my way home, but what awaited me was an empty room. I'm going back to my parents' house. A neatly written note left on the table. It was her handwriting. No way. I felt like the ground was crumbling beneath me. She had finally had enough of me. Before I knew it, I was running out of the condo, Sophia. Jumping into my car, I sped through the night. My destination was clear. Her family house, the Hamilton residence. No matter how late it was, I had no choice but to go. Sophia, it's me. Hours later, I arrived, pounding on the mansion's door, calling out repeatedly. But Sophia didn't come out. The one who appeared at the door was her father, President Hamilton. "What time do you think it is?" he asked. "I'm sorry, President. Is Sophia back?" Sophia returned in the evening. "Can I see her? I need to apologize to her. I won't let you meet my daughter." With a deep frown and in a low voice, President Hamilton spoke to me. It was clear he was angry with me. He had asked her why she returned. "I'm so sorry, President." I apologized deeply, genuinely remorseful. I had made her feel lonely. I had pushed her to the point of suddenly going back to her parents. I said, "No, it wasn't sudden. She must have been struggling for a long time. It's just that I didn't notice. I'm really sorry." I kept apologizing again and again, but the president's anger did not subside. "David, I am disappointed in you. I hear you made my daughter do all the housework. Her hands are rough and chapped. Pitiful. Maybe she left because of that. You were so focused on work you treated her like a maid. I wanted her to learn about the hardships of life, not just to suffer. Didn't you understand that? The fact that she lost weight since we last met is proof she was only struggling. You can't make her happy. That much is clear." Then the president said the words I feared the most. "Consider the marriage arrangement as if it never happened. Please wait, President. Give me another chance. Go home and don't involve yourself with my daughter ever again." As I pleaded, he mercilessly closed the door. Then, At that moment, a figure dashed down the corridor and clung to the president. It was Sophia. Sophia, let go. No, you moved, Dad. Sophia. She forcefully opened the door, almost like charging through it. Sophia stood in front of me as if to protect me. I hate you, Dad. What? I did the housework because I wanted to support David, who was busy. I did it myself, not because he treated me like a maid. I lost weight because I was dieting. I didn't want him to think I was getting fat. And you're saying such horrible things to him. I hate you, Dad. Tears streamed down her face as she raised her voice. Shocked by her words of hate, President Hamilton turned pale, even visible in the dim light. Sophia. He slumped down at the entrance, ignoring her father. Sophia turned to me. I'm sorry for leaving so suddenly. Sophia, why? After all, it's my fault. No, it's not that. It's just, I no longer have a reason to be with you. What? The reason? Sophia and I were together because her father was supporting me. She was with me because her father was helping me return to the headquarters. But I achieved results in the subsidiary, so there was no need for me to return to the headquarters, and the reason for her to be with me disappeared. Thinking so, she decided to return to her parents' home on her own. See, I've become quite capable, hadn't I? I don't throw tantrums anymore. This way, I'm sure other marriage proposals will come. I don't need you to take me in. She tried to force a smile through her tears. I couldn't stay silent when the person I love had such a face. I love you, Sophia. What? I love you. That's why I want to be with you. Isn't that reason enough? You love me. You, David? Yes, I couldn't have lived with someone I didn't love for a whole year. Hearing this, Sophia's eyes overflowed with even bigger tears. Yes, I love you too, David. Very much. Finally, she confessed. Ha! From behind Sophia, President Hamilton let out an exasperated voice. Confessed? What do you mean, President? David, Sophia said she returned because she hated you, but that didn't sit right with me. I played the villain deliberately to make her confess the real reason. What? She looked bewildered, and her tears stopped suddenly. So all the president's words earlier were an act. Sophia has always been spoiled, but she's a delicate girl at heart. She might run away every time something happens, but if you're okay with that, I'd like to entrust her to you, David. What? I couldn't fully grasp the president's words and tilted my head. Seeing this, he muttered, I wasn't wrong about you. What do you mean? I thought you were someone I could trust my daughter to. Saying so, he revealed for the first time the reason he chose me as Sophia's matchmaking partner. Every time you visited our company, you greeted everyone politely, including the cleaners and younger employees whom many think are okay to treat rudely. That caught my eye. First, once I saw you outside the company, you didn't hesitate to guide an elderly person who was lost to the police station, despite apparently being in a hurry for work. Ah, those words remind me of an incident from about 2 years ago. Indeed, as he said, I was in a hurry to a client's place. Helping that elderly lady made me a bit late for the appointment, but I did it anyway. Many people act kindly in front of others, but when no one's watching, they tend to ignore others' struggles. You're kind to others whether someone is watching or not. Such people are rare. That's why I don't think other marriage proposals are likely. Sophia, Dad, he chuckled and gently stroked Sophia's hair. Then suddenly, he begged me with tears. President, it's because you're such a person that I want to entrust my daughter to you. Please marry Sophia. Dad, I wanted to say that. Pouting, Sophia made a gesture of annoyance, but soon she smiled. David, will you marry me? I want to be a family where we can talk about anything, so I won't run away anymore. Sophia, that's what I wanted to say at that. President Hamilton chuckled. You two are well matched. I laughed too, and the entrance was filled with smiles. Then Sophia and I returned to the condo together. After that, due to my achievements and significantly boosting sales at the subsidiary, I was called back to the headquarters. Then I was set to face off directly with that person. I never expected you to return so soon. It's been a while. Manager Parker glared at me with a pained expression. As I suspected, it was you hiding my thoughts. I responded calmly, "You seem to have done quite well. What tricks did you use? Did you steal credit from others, or did you resort to some dishonesty?" "No way. I'm not just like you, who stole the business of Hamilton Foods from me." "What?" Just a slight provocation, but clearly his face changed color. "I achieved it through my abilities and a bit of good luck, unlike you, who can't beat his subordinates without falsifying order forms." "How dare you?" The director's face quickly turned red. The next moment, he lunged at me and began yelling at close range. "You insolent! You want to be demoted again? Next time, it won't be just a subsidiary. I'll send you to a remote factory or a tough form. And this time you won't return until you quit." "David, I recorded that statement just now." "What?" As I pulled out the recorder from my pocket, he released his grip, looking dumbfounded. "Yes, I had been recording from the start. I provoked the director intentionally to elicit a confession that he had orchestrated my demotion. And there's solid evidence of the falsification of the order forms." "What?" There was a history of his PC accessing the online order forms and altering the figures. This was revealed thanks to President Hamilton's suggestion for an investigation into the company. Anticipating a confrontation with the director, I had thoroughly prepared. I will fight this thoroughly. I won't just accept defeat anymore. I have someone to protect now. She cheered me on to do my best today. "What are you babbling about, Parker? What?" "I'm busy now." "Huh." As he panicked, an executive tapped his shoulder from behind. Then Parker was escorted to another room. In a subsequent meeting, my recording was acknowledged as significant evidence, and his punishment was decided. He left the company, replaced by me. Eventually, I returned to the sales department and started working hard again. Utilizing my experience from the subsidiary, I secured even more contracts than before. Sophia and I are now officially engaged, and our dealings with Hamilton Foods are going smoothly. Soon, I will be calling President Hamilton father. I like the proverb, "Kindness is never wasted." I wasn't kind to others just because I wanted something in return, but there was someone watching over me, bringing me the greatest happiness. So, I believe that being kind to others isn't always a loss, even if it might seem so at first. I'll make my loved ones happy, just as those who brought me happiness did. I want to spend increasingly happy days together with them.